I want to show you how to pan fry the perfect piece of salmon. A few tips and tricks you might not already know. And I'm going to serve it with some gorgeous green beans, some rocket, and a really lovely creamy dressing with some anchovies in it. So I like to start with some olive oil, a drizzle on each, start on the skin side, along with a generous pinch of salt on the skin and the flesh. I've also used some paper towel to pat it dry. When you're trying to achieve that crackling effect on the skin, you don't want there to be any moisture. Moisture is the enemy. Next, we're going to place it into a pan. Now, my non-stick pan has not heated up yet. I'm actually going to start cooking these in a cold pan, which is quite unusual, but stick with me, it actually works really well, because what's going to happen is that skin is going to just slowly heat up, render some of the fat, and then in turn slowly become crispy and golden brown. Now, while that starts to cook, let's get on to the beans. Look how stunning these beans are. I had a bit of time, so I actually cut them in half for presentation, and I've cut them in half horizontally. This is purely for presentation. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just blanch them whole. So I'm going to place them into some rapidly boiling water. I'll also add a good pinch of salt to season our beans. And for one portion, I'll just add a big handful. So when it comes to blanching, the water should be boiling to start with. You place in your beans and you need to wait for that water to come back up to the boil. As soon as it comes up to the boil, that's the key sign to taking it out. And we want to instantly stop the cooking process. So I have some water here, and this is just iced water. We're going to place those beans directly in there, and that's going to lock in all the nutrients and also lock in that gorgeous green colour. So we'll wait for that to cook. We'll wait for our fish to cook, and let's get on to a really quick dressing. So in a bowl, I'm going to add 2 anchovies. Use really good quality anchovies. I think anchovies get a bad rap because of bad quality anchovies, which are super fishy and super salty. These ones are just delicious. So 2 anchovies. If you're a little bit worried about the intensity of them, you can, of course, just use 1 or even half. What it does is deliver a gorgeous, savoury, umami flavour to our dressing. I don't mind these to be just chopped as opposed to mashed, because I kind of like those little speckles of saltiness throughout the dish. We'll pop that into the bowl. Some baby capers, I've just drained them from the brine, along with some mustard, just some Dijon mustard. And I want a bit of a kick to this, so some vinegar, some white vinegar, and the zest of some lemon. And just with a whisk, we're going to mix that. Now, usually with the dressing, you'd add some olive oil at this stage, but instead of olive oil, I'm going to substitute the oil for a different type of fat, creme fraiche, which is going to give a really nice creaminess. Creme fraiche also has a tanginess, which is great for dressings like this. So a generous spoonful can go in, and we'll give that a whisk. And that's our dressing ready to go. Now, back to our gorgeous beans. You can see that that water has just come back up to the boil. So we'll take that out. I still want them to be slightly crunchy, so don't overcook them. And as soon as that hits the water, it instantly stops the cooking process. All right, now back to the fish. I can see that it's starting to sizzle now. And look how much fat has rendered out of the fish. That's what we're after, just a nice gentle cook. You can see the proteins changing there. See how it's going a pale pink colour? Let's have a look when we turn it over. Oh yes, crispy skin, that's what we're after. Fantastic. Turn the other one over. I'm going to give it another minute on this side, and then I'm going to remove it and let it rest for a few minutes, because it'll still continue cooking as it comes out of the pan. In the meantime, I'm just going to pat these gorgeous beans dry and start mixing them through the dressing. Okay, fish has come out of the pan. You can see it's still blushing pink in the centre, crispy skin, which is what we're after, and do allow it to rest. So I've just placed my beans in that lovely dressing, along with a generous handful of peppery rocket leaves. You can leave that bit out if you like. Or if you want to make it a little bit more of a bulkier salad, you could add some tomatoes, some cucumber, whatever you like. I'm going to keep it within the green theme and just add the two. And now I'm just tossing that really lightly. So this is not just a dressing for the beans and the rocket. Because it's quite robust, it'll go really nicely with the fish, so almost like a sauce for the fish too. So we'll add that to our plate. Generous amount of that to one side. Well dressed is how you're wanting this. And one of these stunning pieces of king salmon on the side. And I always like to add some extra lemon. So just a cheek of this lemon. Pop that to one side. And I love some freshly cracked pepper. So I'll just grab the pepper and crack that over the top. And that is a stunning dinner. A few little tips and tricks there on how to blanch and how to cook a perfect piece of king salmon in a non-stick pan. It makes all the difference.